This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin FREAKIN.
I keep forgetting that I put the mistletoe over the graphic of Dana Loesch doming me, and it cracks me up every time I see that. Oh, I put the mistletoe over it. Oh, shit. Good morning. No, wait a minute. Good evening. I'm so confused. We were on this morning. Maybe it's good morning for Warlord. The Hebrew Hammer. Good morning. No, good evening. Heard me on C-SPAN this morning. I'm sorry. This is why you don't do drugs. I need drugs. I need drugs right now. I am not high enough for this shit. There we go, drugs. Drugs make everything better. If I just run away and the stream ends, it's because California Pizza Kitchen did a number on my stomach. We'll blame them. But if that doesn't happen, here's what we're going to talk about tonight on the show. I'm going to give you an update on the tornadoes that are ravishing Texas today. That crazy storm front moving through the country, causing all kinds of damage. It's the anniversary of the Sandy Hook shooting in Newtown, Colorado. We're going to get a piece from PBS on that. The Virginia Attorney General is blasting a mass shooting commission in Virginia. We're going to find out why. Maybe there is a legitimate reason for the AG to be upset with the mass shooting commission, or maybe they're just a Republican on the dole from the NRA. I think I know which way I'm leaning. Apparently, Republicans were blindsided by an apparent challenge to Mitch McConnell. Kevin McCarthy seems to be siding with the freedom cock. Am I going to have to explain that joke every time I do that one? Or is it, we're just going to continue with that inside joke? Speaking of the freedom cock, Marjorie Taylor Greene talked about how there are 5 families meeting within the Republican Party. A nod to mafia movies. A Republican in Georgia who kicked a dog. Just being a Republican makes you a lowlife in my eyes, but you kicking a dog makes you absolute scum of the earth to me. Apparently he's going to Capitol Hill now. Got him a brand new job with a congressman that's getting ready to get sworn in. Kicking a dog doesn't disqualify you from being a Republican on Capitol Hill. The Trump org was secretly held in contempt. Special counsel Jack Smith moving aggressively against Trump and his allies in Congress. The National Archives is wanting to release documents related to Hunter Biden. Officer testified today in the Paul Pelosi case. Florida pastor has been arrested for pulling an $8 million COVID scam. We're going to see video from a school board in Weatherly. I don't see what the state is here. I don't know where Weatherly is. School board president questioned over their post about White History Month. Also, I got a meme of the day for you. Here's your meme of the day. The Iron Sheik is threatening to put Elon Musk in the camel clutch. Poke Elon in the ass and make him humble. Vader, California Pizza Kitchen. California Pizza, it's a brand. I had a brand of frozen pizza last night. Mox, good evening. Rhinos, good evening. So glad to see you. Mox, I can't promise that it's going to be a regular thing. We're going to try to do it every week, every 2 weeks. That was the last Prime Minister's questions for the year. So we probably won't come back and do it again until January 8th. I don't know. Next week we might do C-SPAN. I haven't decided how I'm going to do holiday programming just yet. I'm thinking about doing a stream on Christmas. I actually conversed with Curiouser just a few minutes ago. She is working. She is working on that Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. So I don't know when we will be doing. She's got the grandkid. I think we're doing like Festival of the Solstice, right? And I think she's got the grandkid for the 21st or 22nd. So we'll probably have Christmas dinner one of those nights. I'm not opposed to streaming on Christmas Day. Yeah, we do Prime Minister's questions. They take about a half hour on Wednesday morning, and then we go to C-SPAN. The only thing I don't like about that is C-SPAN, their open phone lines, their free-for-all is from 7 to 8. So we actually miss 30 minutes of, just the open topics. So when we come over to C-SPAN, we get about 30 minutes of open topics, and then they have a guest. And the guest, like this morning, it was a congressman who's on the panel for climate crisis. So we had like a half hour of questions regarding climate change. Whereas the open phone lines are by far more fun. Get more crazies in. Iron Sheik threatens to put Elon Musk in the camel clutch. We'll fuck him in the ass and make him humble. I got you a twofer. I got you a twofer on that one. Geeky baby. Usually I do take a little vacation during the holidays. Because there isn't news going on. Yeah, when I called, so I called into C-SPAN this morning. If you missed it, I was on C-SPAN. I got to say the name of the Troll Patrol. That was super fucking cool. I was careful because I didn't want to say Troll Patrol. I didn't want to say Justin Freakin because I was afraid he would hang up on me. But at the end of the call, he asked me the name of my show. Asked me the name of my show, so I got to say it on C-SPAN. That was super cool. That is my second time being on C-SPAN. The first time I was incredibly drunk, and it was during the presidential debates in 2020, in 2000. It was during the presidential debates between Bush and Gore in 2000. I've not clipped it for YouTube yet because I've not been awake yet. I went to sleep after I saw you guys this morning. And I just woke up a little bit ago, so if I'm going to clip it for YouTube, it'll be here after I get off of this stream. I will definitely clip the C-SPAN call. So one of you guys in the chat were the ones that inspired my thumbnail with Megyn Kelly and Keith Olbermann. Megyn Kelly wants to hate fuck Keith Olbermann, and I love the pictures I picked out there of Keith leering at her and Megyn Kelly trying to be all sexy. He looks kind of like Caitlin Olsen from Sunny in Philadelphia there, though. Shut up, bird. So yeah, I haven't had a chance to do anything because I got straight out of bed and started putting this show together. Also, I woke up 2 or 3 times, and every time I woke up, I had to let socks out of the room. But yet, every time I woke up, I had socks in my arms. And if some of you are new, not socks as in like a piece of clothing. Socks as in my cat, Socrates. So it's so weird that he wanted out of the room all these different times, but every time I woke up, he was in my arms. Because that cat loves to be held, right? That cat wants me to hold it like a baby. Socrates can be a piece of clothing. Socks. I don't have any cat in my room right now. There's no kitten. There's no Smokey. There's no nobody. I had the kitten laying with me, but the kitten would like, we'd be laying there, it'd be sweet and everything, and then all of a sudden just like, boom, on my face with claws, like, meow. And then you have to take the kitten and be like, no, lay down here. Kitten is wild. Oh, I didn't finish running down everything we were going to talk about. Oh, also, you guys, I get seasonal depression or some shit, right? Like, I don't know what's wrong with me, and it's always this time of year. It's, if you go back and watch the Troll Patrol from this time last year, every time I got on the stream, I'm like, I don't give a fuck today. I didn't put any effort into this show. It's always like a 2 weeks around the holidays. Justin just quits giving a fuck. I think I've done pretty good of staying up on my work and keeping up on what I'm doing for the Troll Patrol and everything. Like, I did double time freaking newses this week. However, I still think there is some of the malaise going on here. So forgive me if the streams aren't as comprehensive as they usually are, if they're not as long as they usually are. As I said last night, I was like, I want to get out of here in 2 hours instead of 4. Which is so wild. When I first started doing this, you know, I was doing it to 1 or 2 people. Doing the show for 1 or 2 people, sometimes nobody for the first few months. And I had my former best friend, Jason the Breed Creed. He'd be watching. He's like, man, you don't even do an hour sometimes, man. Like, this is sad. Like, I'm building up to it. I'm finding my footing. I'm finding my voice. And yeah, now most of the shows are 3 to 4 fucking hours. There's a Socks. You guys want to see Socks? He just harumphed on in here. What's up, buddy? There's a Socrates. He held like a baby. Got big ol' eyes. Got his socks on. Wore his tuxedo. Say hi to you guys. What, buddy? I already fed you. I see food in your bowl right now, bud. You ain't hungry. Yeah, I'm sorry I took the Socks emote away. There's food in his bowl. I see the bowls right now. May need to give you some water, but I'm sure the fountain in there has water in it. And Curiouser said, like, is there water in your room? I heard Socks come out, and he went to the fountain. He was there a good 5 minutes. And I was like, he's got plenty of water. I mean, I guess he just wanted to go to the fountain. Quite often, he's a thirsty boy. Thirsty boy? You're a big old boy. He's almost like 30 pounds. You're exactly what they're talking about when they say fat cats. These fat cats around here. You. Also, I don't feel sick, but I've got sniffles. I've got coughs and sneezing going on. However, I don't feel sick at all, so I don't know what is up with that. Ain't nothing a little pot can't cure. Oh, what else are we talking about tonight? We're going to talk about executions, unfortunately. We're going to talk about the death penalty. Mississippi man is being executed tonight. Admitted to killing a 16-year-old girl. I don't think this is one of those where we're going to be hoping he's granted clemency. Still pretty anti-death penalty. This guy admitted to killing a 16-year-old girl, though. We have a trans death row inmate in Missouri who is asking for mercy. Apparently, they stabbed their significant other Could have been an abuse situation, so this person might very well deserve mercy. Someone who doesn't deserve mercy is a cop that I'm going to show you a picture of. He's going to be smiling. He's going to be smiling just moments after beating the fuck out of a homeless Army veteran. School board president questioned over their post about White History Month. Police apparently broke into Banksy's studio. Banksy had a sculpture a little too lifelike, apparently. All that and more here on the Troll Patrol Live. Apparently, the Oregon governor just commuted all death sentences. I didn't know Oregon was a capital punishment state. Working, good evening. I would have thought that they abolished the death penalty a long time ago. Damn, up until this week. I mean, apparently if he's had to commute all the sentences, it's still a death penalty state. Yeah, they executed Banksy. Probably a good thing, to be honest with you. I'm tired of hearing about Banksy. No, we haven't heard about Banksy a lot in the last 3 or 4 years. The last real big thing concerning Banksy that I remember was it was like the piece of art that was over the shredder. And whenever somebody bought it for $1 million or something, it shredded itself. That was cool. In Ukraine doing some arts. Well, good on him. He is an activist. Them. It might not be a he. We still don't know who Banksy is, right? As far as I know. Clinically, good evening. Oh, is Banksy in on the NFTs? Well, fuck Banksy then. NFTs are scams. The self-destruct button was genius, though. I give them props on that. That was a great statement. All right. I had Cheeky Baby putting Elon Musk and the camel clutch up over here. We're going to move from Cheeky Baby to Carrie Von Erich. Carrie Von Erich, the Texas tornado. Oh, wait a minute. Wrong Texas tornadoes. Tornadoes ravaged the state of Texas yesterday, and that was a horrible segue.
The number of tornadoes has steadily grown in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, and it's going to grow some more. I mean, it's highly likely that it's going to grow some more. Count stands at 12 right now, but there's still 4 other areas being investigated, a couple in Parker County, and then we don't have any official confirmation just yet of what happened from Blue Ridge to Leonard. Okay. Pretty likely that at least one, if not multiple tornadoes happened up that way, judging by the damage that we've seen, but that has not been officially confirmed just yet. Gotcha. So this number, unfortunately, likely to grow even more. The count stands at 12 right now. Some of the most recent ones we
No tornado in the area of Justin, Texas.
Knew a tornado happened in Grapevine, but it actually ended up being 2 different tornadoes lifted, set down again. Both were EF1s with wind speeds of 100 miles an hour. Another one added today near North Richland Hills. 3 out near the Joint Reserve Base. One an EF2 there south of Decatur. To be determined, Blue Ridge to Leonard. An EF0 north of Callisburg. An EF2 in Lamar County west of Paris. To the west of DFW, to be determined around Hudson Oaks. An EF2.
A tornado's more sucking than blowing, right? A hurricane would be blowing.
This one just added in far eastern Erath County.
Texas sucks.
Stand at the moment. 12 tornadoes confirmed so far. I think it's highly likely that number will go up.
Tones, good evening. Hope you are safe.
As we get it.
Covering your area right now, which is being ravaged by tornadoes. You're on the map. Sir, I'd like to show you that I literally am on the map. There is Justin, Texas. I literally am on the map. FREAKIN, thank you for the resub. Resubbing with the Prime. If any of you guys are watching and you have a Amazon Prime account and you're not giving your Bezos bucks to somebody on Twitch, do that. If you are paying for Amazon Prime, you get a free Twitch subscription every month. Not necessarily to me, but go give that Bezos money to somebody worthy on Twitch. But if you decide to support me, I greatly appreciate it. Give that Bezos money to somebody. Oh, I'm gonna have to hit the content warning for this one. We're gonna do sad news, but we're gonna have to do news that we are going to have to cover. Is the anniversary of one of the deadliest days for mass shooting in USA. Content warning. Going to Sandy Hook, where it is the 10th anniversary. 20 children dead, 28 total killed in the massacre.
On this day, 10 years ago, a mass shooting forever changed the small town of Newtown, Connecticut. 20 students and 6 educators were killed at Sandy Hook Elementary School. It was one of the
Also, I feel like when I was billboarding this, I might have said Newtown, Colorado. Newtown, Connecticut.
Mass shootings in U.S. history. William Brangham spoke with one of the parents who lost a child that day.
Just steps away from the rebuilt Sandy Hook Elementary School sits a new memorial site, and etched into the ring of granite are 26 names of those massacred that day. One of them is Dylan Hockley, a 6-year-old first grader. In the decades since his murder, his mother, Nicole Hockley, along with other Sandy Hook families, have channeled their grief into action. Hockley co-founded the organization Sandy Hook Promise. It's a nonprofit that works to prevent further tragedies by helping students identify and report the warning signs of someone who is planning violence. I spoke with Hockley yesterday, just ahead of today's anniversary. 10 years ago...
Well, that doesn't do a lot of good when you have a situation like in Michigan with Ethan Crumbly, where the school absolutely knew all of the red flags that the child was exhibiting. That's why the parents were arrested and charged with manslaughter, I believe. Maybe it was negligent homicide, because the parents knew and first they bought the gun for the kid just a few months prior, and they gave the gun back after they were alerted to the child's behavior by the school.
What was probably the worst day of your entire life happened.
Yeah, caught him Googling different types of ammo.
Deal with that blow and suffer through that trauma and that grief. But now here we are almost 10 years later. How does that grief sit with you today? Is it ever present? Does it wax and wane? What is that like for you today?
The grief is absolutely ever present. And you know, I think about Dylan every single day, but it's kind of like a scab has formed over my heart. And at times, if a certain memory comes up or a certain smell or another tragedy occurs, it's like that scab is ripped off and my heart is broken and bleeding all over again.
10 years. That little boy was 6 when he died. He should have been, you know, in the driver's seat with his mom in the passenger seat with his driver's permit, driving to school, learning how to drive a car today. 10 fucking years since he died.
And as time goes by, the amount of time that scab stays on is longer. but it's still ever present and part of my daily life.
So that wound hasn't healed in any way that we would recognize fully healed.
No, and I don't expect it to ever fully heal. I'm a mom whose son was murdered in his first grade classroom. That's not something that you move on from. It's just something
uniquely an American experience too.
Find a way to keep moving forward.
When tragedies like this occur, I mean, obviously the person is taken away from you, but that person is also then frozen in time. I mean, Dylan will always be a 6-year-old boy, and yet time marches on. You get older, your son Jake gets older, but yet Dylan is always just that little boy.
Well, I can only really speak for me and my experience. Even my surviving son is forging a different path and a different experience and is processing things differently. But time is pretty warped, really. Like, I can't really reconcile the fact that it's been 10 years since I held Dylan, since I heard him laugh, since I took him to school.
You should have a teenager
Jake,
like
surviving
back talking you right now.
You know, he was at the school that day. He was in 3rd grade. He's now a freshman in college. He's taller than me. And I also see, other kids that, Dylan is forever 6. And I see other kids in his grade who are now 16, who are now, in high school and starting to think about college, and they're taller than me and they're mature. And yet Dylan is forever my 6-year-old boy. He is frozen in time, and that life is.
I have a feeling she said this in like another interview.
We are approaching this.
That's why he asked the question that way. Because it was weird the way he said that.
The rest of the country, again, tries in its own way to commemorate and remember what happened. I know that there's that conversation that's also going on in your community of Newtown as to how much this.
Because I mean, she's an advocate. She's been giving speeches, and she won an Emmy for something over there.
Your community.
So she's probably said that, and that's why he was wanting to hit on that.
The town of Newtown.
Tadpole, good evening.
How does that feel? Do you feel like it is also an ever-present part of that community?
I think for some people, it is an ever-present part. It's not Newtown's not defined by the tragedy, but you can't go out in the rest of the country and say you're from Newtown or Sandy Hook without someone making a remark and wanting to share their experience. Quite often you hear people talk about, I remember where I was when I heard the news. It's become a moment in our American history. And I think for many residents of Newtown, it is ever present. However, the people that I talk to and that I know want to also be remembered as a place that created change.
Your organization, Sandy Hook Promise, runs trainings to try to train people to help identify who out there might be troubled and to teach people how to intervene. Can you tell us a little bit more about that work?
Sure. It is absolutely critical to recognize warning signs when someone might be going into crisis or needs help, is at risk of hurting themselves or hurting someone else, and then take action to intervene. And the reason that we focus our programs...
I what would go a long way into helping to recognize people that need intervention? Making sure that we have comprehensive health care and that everyone is seeing a doctor on a regular basis.
In schools is because a lot of these at-risk behaviors, especially that manifest in the teenage years and the early 20s, a lot of this is on social media. And
Tadpole, you brought that up. I was mocking it this morning. Every time I watch Prime Minister's Questions, there's a boat that's capsized. But I got to thinking about it, and Warlord shared the story in the Discord. There's a lot of immigration coming over on boats into Britain, and that's one of the reasons that we're seeing so many deaths as they make the trek, the treacherous trek to immigrate to Britain. And I didn't even think about that. I was making light of that situation this morning, and I probably shouldn't have done that. But I know Britain is an island, And like, because I was cracking jokey jokes. I'm like, oh, like British people apparently can't see. They keep falling into the ocean and they keep falling over Christmas trees. But then when I realized like the actual substance of the story and all the geopolitical implications of the story, I was making light of a situation that's not very funny. So my apologies for that, but I'm tiptoeing on the line. That's what this show's about. I'm just tiptoeing on the line all the time.
Kids are able to see and hear things.
I ran somebody off with that. Somebody left. One of you fucks was like, oh my God, that was too much for me. Making fun of the boat capsizing and an immigrant, there were like 4 immigrants dying. That's not. I didn't read the story, so it might not have been immigrants, but I'm gonna guess that because I was thinking that. Like after I got off the stream, I'm like, oh God, that's probably what was going on. There was just families from some country that's been ravaged by Western imperialism, trying to make a better life for themselves, and this poor family is capsized and drowned, and I'm on stream mocking it. Time to burn Justin. I'd probably do good ratings. I'd probably get a lot of views on that stream.
And different channels from adults. So that's why we teach kids, how do you recognize when your friend needs help? How do you recognize a subtle or an overt threat on social media? And how do you take action to get that information to a trusted adult so that an intervention can be made?
May I ask about Jake, your other son, who also he survived that shooting, that terrible day, and he's grown up in a world where not only did he have to deal with that loss of a brother, but he also sees on the news about mass shootings constantly. And I wonder, what's your sense of what that does to him, how he sees the world, how he is processing all of that?
It's interesting. Jake is he's kind of a silent processor. They say still waters run deep, and I think that's very much the case with Jake. He is so aware and has huge empathy and compassion, yet he has decided not to use his voice yet. He really wants to define himself and his own path. And it's hard to know sometimes what's typical teenage boy and what's grief. So we talk about that a lot, but I'm so proud of the young man that he is and the person that he continues to become. And I don't know, I think sometimes he's seen the worst that the world can give you, and he's experienced and lived that, and he has also seen that you can survive.
So he would have been 9 or 10 when his little brother was gunned down.
We are talking with you before the anniversary, this 10-year anniversary, and I know that on the day you, as you say, go silent. And I wonder, can you just share a little bit about what it is you do on the actual anniversary?
I will wake up as I always do and kiss Dylan's urn and tell him that I love him and I miss him. I quite often go to his playground, which is at an elementary school in Southern Connecticut, and have some quiet time there. And then I usually leave behind some sort of memento at his playground. Sometimes it's little glass stones that I paint on, or once I brought one of his stuffed animals and left it on the bench for some other child. There's something that I'll usually leave behind and bury there. It's just one of my rituals. And then I usually just go to a beach and we'll walk the shores for several hours, because it's a way for me to ground myself and be in nature, and it helps me from my grief overwhelming me to be nearer to nature and know that there's something significantly larger than me and my grief.
Sounds like a beautiful way to remember and to keep living. Nicole Hockley, so good to talk to you. Thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
As we watched that, it dawned on me that I can't tell you the name of the killer. I don't remember if the young man that did this is alive or dead, if they've been prosecuted. It has happened so frequently that me, a news junkie, who does indeed remember exactly where I was at 10 years ago this day, when I heard the news about Sandy Hook, was that Lanza? Or was Lanza the theater shooter? I don't even remember. There are so many of these taking place. A lot of news stories. I don't have Wikipedia. That was Adam Lanza. I did get the name right. 20-year-old Adam Lanza killed 26 people. I got the number wrong. 20 of the victims were children between 6 and 7 years old. The incident is the deadliest mass shooting at an elementary school in U.S. history. The 4th deadliest mass shooting overall. So Lanza